The child was a boy whose hands and feet were growing incessantly every day, and all his hair had fallen out. Initially, it was thought to be gigantism, but hospital tests showed his hormone levels were normal. This strange event occurred in the U.S. One day, the popular online blogger Higher Brothers received a plea for help. A 53-year-old mother said her son, Tom, experienced a bizarre event on his 18th birthday, resulting in a sudden personality change. From then on, his hands and feet began to grow continuously, making it impossible for him to wear his clothes. She wanted to see her son's face, but he wouldn't allow it. She even posted a video as proof. Higher Brothers immediately decided to visit him, as this was a rare opportunity to help someone and gain followers. They quickly arrived at the woman's house, but upon opening the door, she seemed unaware of their arrival, appearing quite disoriented. The house was pitch black. The woman explained that her son was terrified of light and was resting in the inner room. They decided to interview the woman first, before visiting Tom. As soon as the three sat down, the woman began to cry. "Come on," she said, "it was all his fault. A few months ago, she and her husband had a fight, and in a fit of anger, her husband drove off, resulting in a fatal car accident. After that, their personalities began to change drastically. On his birthday, they jumped out of the window and into the nearby forest. She initially thought he was grieving the loss of his father, but that night, Tom climbed back into the bedroom through the window. His mother wanted to check on him, but he locked the door. Unable to do anything else, she left food at the door every day. However, on the third day, she strangely discovered that her son's arms and legs were undergoing a crazy mutation. His hair was becoming increasingly sparse, and he was wearing a bizarre mask. The Higher Brothers, increasingly intrigued by the story, decided to check on Tom. They knocked on the door, but no one answered, so they opened it. Tom was sitting on the bed, combing his already thinning hair. Dazhuang said, "I'm your mother's friend. We can talk about it outside." As soon as he finished speaking, Tom suddenly threw down the comb and slowly turned his head. His bizarre mask seemed to have grown out of his skin. The mask appeared on his face and merged seamlessly with his body. Dazhuang was terrified and quickly closed the door. Huang Mao was too scared to go in and urged Dazhuang to leave immediately. But Dazhuang insisted it was just a mask and that it was a once-in-a-lifetime video clip. They then installed cameras in various corners of the house, sneaking into Tom's room while he was using the toilet. They discovered that the food on Tom's plate was actually a dark, moving mass. When installing the camera in the old lady's room, he hoped the two of them would stay overnight, fearing his son would discover the recording and fly into a rage. However, the next day, when they reviewed the footage, they were horrified by what they saw. His arms and legs had suddenly grown to 10 meters long, and his expression was one of extreme pain. He then stood up, picked up the food from the ground, and began to eat it. He then crawled on all fours, step by step, out of the hallway. He crossed the hallway, opened his mother's room, and looked at his sleeping mother, making strange buzzing and roaring noises. Suddenly, he began sucking his mother's blood like a mosquito. The Hal brothers, after watching this, hurriedly calling for the woman. They saw a huge black wound on his back, and he was extremely weak. The two brothers wanted to call Forbler to help, but the woman pleaded, saying that Tom only had a strange illness, and it wasn't his fault. Dazhuang decided to talk to Tom again, but Huang Mao quickly stopped him, saying they had already taken the footage and should pack up and leave. But Dazhuang insisted that since they had taken the footage, they should help him to the end. However, late at night, the two brothers were awakened by the woman's screams. They rushed downstairs and saw Tom banging his head against his mother's room. The two were terrified and dared not stop him. Just then, Tom broke down the door, grabbed his mother, and jumped out of the window, disappearing into the depths of the forest. The two brothers were bewildered. Huang Mao said, "Let's call the police and get out of here. That's the only way now." In the end, Forbler still couldn't find the woman and Tom, but his daughter had hinted to her husband that she used to take him and Tom to picnic and play in the forest. Perhaps the family was reunited in the forest.